Hello, my name's Jeff Feige. I'm with IGEL Technology. I'm a senior pre-sales engineer, and if you're watching this, you probably run Powerterm or using Powerterm and are having a problem, and support asks you to gather some log files. So I'm going to step you through that process. You should have a PDF with some instructions. That's what I'm going to follow. You can follow along with that, and you should have received some profiles as well. So let's continue on here. The first thing I'm going to do is, and you should have received an executable as well. So the first step in the document is to copy the GWEXE file to the root directory on a Windows computer. I've already done that. Whoops. So there's my GWEXE. GW log will get created after you run it for the first time. Start a command prompt with administrator credentials. Well, that's easy enough to do. Alright, there I am. It says type C colon. Alright, so I'm going to do it this way. And it says the IP address of the host you would normally connect to with Powerterm. So let's take a look at our Powerterm profile that I have applied to our device here. And our Powerterm profile says that I will be connecting to this IP. So if this is an FQDN, you're probably best to find the IP of it. But so this is the IP that I would need to plug in. So it says IP address of the host you would normally connect to a Powerterm, and if you're using IBM 3270 and 5250 emulation, make sure you put a /IBM. I am not, so I will not be doing that. However, so we will say 192.168.0.243, and now we have a window. It's kind of hard to see, but we have a little window header that has popped up, and GW is running. Excellent. So we will mark this as complete. Alright, so it says apply Powerterm debug and gather logs. Alright, so I've tested these with 504 and 505. They should work with pretty much any firmware version, any Linux firmware version, but if you need me to change something, let me know. If it doesn't work, we'll work on that when we get to it. So when you import log files into the UMS, you go to System Import, or Import Profiles, I mean. Alright, there's Debug Profiles. So this may show up and it may not allow you to click OK, and it's not obvious what to do. In that case, it just means that you don't have the firmware schema for the firmware that the profile was made for. You can simply drop this down and choose one of the other Linux firmware versions. So we say OK, and we now have our profiles imported, and we will apply those directly to the device. I've already done that. Obviously, I created the profiles, so I already have them. So, but basically, all you need to do is drag them and place them directly on the device. Okay. So, what is the next step here? That's done. Configure the Powerterm session to connect to the IP of the computer running GW. So GW is basically a wedge between your Powerterm session and your terminal host, so that it gathers all of the data that goes through. It basically passes everything through. So we'll go and configure our Powerterm session and change the connection. And I don't know what my IP address is here, so we'll type ipconfig 192.168.0.55. Alright. And it says configure to show the status bar and menu bar. It's helpful because, well, you'll see why, but we will do that as well. Oops. So, display, that's not it. Window. Show menu bar, show status bar, and I think it also makes sense to, let's see, where is it? Preferences. Change this to do not connect. That's the next step on our debug. And we'll say now, and that is start your Powerterm session in disconnect mode. You don't have to do that. You can disconnect when you get there, and you don't have to change the status bar in the config either. We can do that when we get to the Powerterm session, but it's just kind of easier this way. All right, so go to the GW window on the PC and press S. So we'll click here, and we will press S, and it changes from SP equals closed to SP equals open. It'll also say negotiate if you're using the /IBM. So let's go and make that done. And then in Powerterm, so we go to our thin client, which for some reason Powerterm's already running, so we'll restart this. On our thin client, we are to press Control-Shift-S. So Control-Shift-S. And the reason that we turn on the menu at the top and the status bar, when we press Control-Shift-S, you see at the bottom it says capture log with send with keys, and that's what we want to see. Alright, so that's done. Start your Powerterm session and work until the problem surfaces. Easy enough. Some of you this will be easier than others. So we go to communication and click on connect, and then we log in, and we work until something happens. And then either Powerterm will crash, or you can log out or not log out, whatever you want to do. Doesn't really matter all that much. Just make sure that you work from the login point until the point where everything breaks. So now we press Control-Shift-S in Powerterm. So go back in here, Control-Shift-S, and you'll see it says capture file end. And then we go to GW and stop GW. Closed. Alright. And then we send the GW log file to support. So if we look here, there should be the GW log file. Excellent. From this morning. Okay, so you can email that to whoever asked you for the log file. And then we need to create the capture archive on the thin client. And by the way, when you apply these log files, apply them to the device and then reboot. That will make sure that the necessary changes are made. So capture archive on thin client. So let's go here and we'll close our Powerterm. Yes, we know we double click on gather logs. It will say that the logs have been saved. Excellent. And then you can transfer the logs from the thin client to the UMS. There is a video that I've created out there to show that specifically. I'm going to walk through it real quickly here, and we'll see what happens. All right, so we created a log file called, we can gather it again, it doesn't really matter, logs.tar.bz2. So what we want to do is right click on the device and say file tc to UMS. We say temp logs /temp/logs tar bz2, and the target URL, just use UMS file transfer folder and call it logs.tar.bz2 and click save. Save file tc to UMS. Hopefully this will come back green. If it does not, or the log file doesn't exist, then make sure that the thin client can resolve the FQDN of your management server. Now, I'm running this console in Windows 8.1. The file will not be transferred to the location of the console. The file will be transferred to the management server itself. So I need to make a connection to my management server. And the file will be located in Program Files Directory, Program Files x86, IGEL, Remote Manager, RM GUI Server, web apps, UMS file transfer. There's our logs.tar.bz2. You can go ahead and send that off to whoever asked you to send the log files to them. So I hope this is helpful, and I hope we resolve your Powerterm issue. Thank you very much, and have a great day.